take this magnet out. Oh, there were some chunks on there. I'm gonna have to see what that was. This is the piece I fished out. It's a small piece of... This is usually fairly frightening.
I'm gonna make something great. That's my way.
Hey, how's it going? Today I'm going to rip apart this transmission. It is a G-series transmission. They are basically made of glass because they shatter. So I'm just gonna take it apart, make sure everything's good to go for next season, and I'll show you how to do it. First off, I'm just gonna take off these tranny mounts so there's less crap in the way, and then I'm gonna throw it on the table face down. All right, I got my tranny on a table. First thing I'm gonna do is take off my starter. It'll just get in the way. Next thing is I'm going to take off all these 10 mil bolts on the top so this cap will come off, and then there will be 2 shafts that come up, and then that can all get removed later. I'll tell you that as well. So I'm gonna be taking it apart down to here. That is gonna open the entire transmission. But before that, like, I can't just take these off and then these off because the gears need to be taken off as well. So I'm going to have to take this off. This has a spring and ball. This one screws into the reverse gear to keep it stable. This one's just the fill. So this one, and this one need unscrewed. This one aligns one of the shafts. So that is very important because you can't just loosen everything off and start prying on it, because these are holding the transmission together as well. They're holding shafts, holding a whole bunch of good stuff that you don't want to wreck. So I'm gonna start up here, start slow. All right, awesome. So this is the 5th gear. This is what is underneath the piece of steel that I just removed. This is 5th gear. So once this gets pulled down, it's in 5th. I have a bar shoved into the shifter selector. Now I'm in neutral, just like your normal H pattern. And I'm looking here, it's in the middle. I'm gonna spin it. Everything's spinning freely. So this selector, the fork is in the middle. So everything just freewheels. So now I'm gonna put it in 5th and see how it works. I'm gonna put it in 5th. See how the selector went down. So now I'm gonna turn it. Still turning freely. That looks pretty good. So I'm gonna remove all this now. I've got to hammer this pin out to get this guy off, and then I need to get these 2 bolts or nuts off, and then I can pull the gears off, keep them all in order, check the synchronizers, and then I can remove all this stuff. Okay, I got the 2 nuts off. So now I'm gonna keep everything in order and place it on the table as I've got it. So I'm putting everything like this over there. So I'm putting that down. And then this fork, I should have put that in neutral. Choose neutral. Now this will all come out as one. You just gotta go slow. I've done this so many times, guys, like probably 10 times, so I probably look pretty decent at it. Anyways, there she's out. Gotta take this guy off too. And now I can move on and take this entire case apart. All right, this bolt holds in reverse. Take him out. That's very hard to line up later on. I'll show you later. So I'm just placing everything in order. And then over here, this supports the shaft. Take him out. As you can see, it doesn't have threads on the end, because all it does is it goes into a shaft, so it stays in the proper orientation. And put him over there. And then I need to take this one off, that's 14. And that will have a spring and ball bearing inside. So that is what holds your reverse gear in. So just got this little bolt. And put him aside too. And then inside there is a spring and ball that I will have to get out with a magnet. This spring and ball here is a lockout, so when you're in 5th gear, you can't get it into reverse. So once this has pressure on it and you're in 5th gear, you can't pull it into reverse when you're in forward motion. That's the whole idea. Okay, now since I've got all this stuff done, this one's just a fill hole, so that's nothing. Now I can remove all these bolts all the way around. They are 14, so I'm just gonna hammer them out. Okay, all the bolts around are done, and this tranny mount goes over top of these 2 pieces of metal, and you just got to pull him off. All right, now to crack the case loose, I just got a normal cruel bar here. There's a nice ledge here, and then there's a nice little nipple there. I usually just go like this and then crack them loose. Perfect. Okay, so now it's time to get this case off. The easiest and best way to do it is just to come up as straight as you can, because you've got shafts and bearings all in place, so you just got to come up straight, not wreck anything. Okay, she's off. Now I can see the goods. Yeah, I've ripped apart this whole thing for nothing. The whole problem was my magnet moved. So I'm gonna do a good diagnostics on everything, but I'm thinking that she's pretty good. This is my LSD, I'm gonna inspect the LSD. But I think this tranny is good for another season. I don't know how, but since I put this LSD in it, this one hasn't broken, which is fantastic, obviously. So I'm gonna take this magnet out. Oh, there's some chunks on there. I'm gonna have to see what that was. But yeah, I'm gonna clean off the magnet too. All right, this is the piece I fished out. It's a small piece of cast. So the only thing that is cast in here is the actual case. And I looked through and through the entire cast and I couldn't find where it came from. But regardless, I'm not worried about it because this is a piece of the cast. I don't know if by accident it fell in or what happened originally, but not worried about it. It's out now, so I'm gonna throw that in the garbage. And now I can clean off my magnet here. It's not that bad. That's not too bad. You don't really want to touch it because it could poke you, but I do anyway. Oh, here's another little piece. Oh, that looks like, what's that? Anyways, okay, I'm just gonna clean this off. 3, 2, 1. All right, she's all cleaned up now. Just basically get as much off as you can, and then she's ready to go back in. She just slides in here, just like this. All right, I'm not taking this entire transmission apart because I really don't need to because it's not damaged. So this is the reverse gear. I'm just gonna go over everything a little bit. This is reverse, and this is the hole where that bolt comes into the transmission. So when you put the case on, you have to make sure it's pointing out towards the case. Can't be pointing like that because you'll never get it in, or like that. It is somewhat forgiving because it does have a taper. But yeah, that's why that's there. This guy needs to be in neutral. So when you put that bolt in that has that no thread on it, it just shoves itself in there. And if you wanted to take this all apart, the first step would be to pull this pin out. The pin pulls out straight up, then all this comes apart. You want to take out that 10 mil down there off the shifter fork because the shifter fork is connected to that. Take that off, that piece comes out, and then there is a ball and spring in there. So you want to be careful to not lose that. So when you pull this shaft up, you don't want to lose it. So you got to keep an eye on it. You can shove something in that little hole so it keeps the actual spring compressed so the ball just doesn't fly across the room and have yourself swearing. I usually take this 10 mil out, then this shaft slides out of this reverse guide, and then pretty much everything just slides out. This shaft will come out, this shaft will come out, and then your diff's there. So to get the diff out, you have to remove all the gears, but the gears are on the shaft. So everything just slides out. Reverse is easy, you just pull this out, and then that's just a quick example, and then it just pops right out, and then shove her back in. All right, now it's just reverse. I gotta put the case back on. I need to make sure all this stuff's lined up for bolting into the case. So I'm gonna take the case, put it on, look through the holes, make sure these line up, and then go from there, put the bolts in. If they all fit and the case is right down face to here, then it's good to bolt together. But before you bolt it in, you have to RTV this whole surrounding. I'll show you. Okay, the case is on, so now I gotta start looking through the holes here. That one's lining up, and that one's lining up. If they don't, you gotta take it apart and then make sure it lines up. Simple as that. It cannot be put together without them lined up. And once I got these 3 in, I always double check and make sure my transmission's shifting. So go in and out, left and right. Make sure every gear is gonna work. Perfect, works good. I'd already tested it out, but yeah, like you get the idea. So now I can bolt the entire thing in. Now, before I put the gears in, I'm gonna clean up this outside because I'm gonna have to RTV that as well. Gonna clean it in 3, 2, 1. All right, both sides are clean, got the cover cleaned. So now it's time to put the gears in. Okay, in my left hand, I have the 5th gear main set with the fork and everything, all assembled. So now I've got the other gear in the right. This is the only thing that's on the right, is a gear and a spacer. So here we go, it's gotta go in at the same time. You don't really need to put the spacer on right away, you can put that on after, but everything has to go in together. You gotta go nice and slow, because if you don't keep this fork in the center, like this, you could lose the synchronizer pieces, and that's not fun. See, that's okay, the synchronizer dropped, but there's pieces inside of this, and you don't want that to do, you don't want it to do what it just did there, but I saved it. Luckily, nothing opened up, but we're good, that's in, that's in. Put the spacer, and now I need to put my pin in. Okay, all the gears are in, so now there's a little hole right there, and I need to put this pin in, because when you use the shifter here, it pushes this up and down to engage the 5th gear, and it wouldn't do anything without this pin. So you need to put that pin in and hammer it in. Start on it, it basically is flush with the fork, so then you just keep her level and pound her in. But you obviously got to put it all in straight, like I wasn't. Bam! All right, so now I can put the 2 nuts on the top. Left nut and right nut. That's pretty much it. So now I'm just gonna tighten these down, then hammer over here so it'll grab the shaft so it can't loosen up. Same with this one, and then I can put my top plate on. Okay, everything's spinning freely. I'm gonna try and put it into 5th gear so I can see if it's engaging. So I'm gonna go right and back because the throw is the opposite way underneath the car, so I need to twist it to the right and back. And it sounded like it went in, and it totally did. So now I'm gonna spin it, Is it spinning smoothly? Yes, it is. That is a good thing. All right, so that's it. Now I'm going to RTV around this whole piece, put my cap on, and I'm done. All right, she's all back together, got the tranny mounts back on, starters wasn't even taken off. Anyways, she's done. And now I've got that peace of mind that the tranny doesn't have any broken parts or anything inside of it. There was no gears that were sheared or anything. Ready to rock. All right, have a good one. We'll see you in the next video. Like, comment, subscribe. See you later.
Something great. That's my way.